I was at the airport, facing a torrential downpour, waiting for 4 hours. I only received a message from Ethan Lancaster: "The company has some matters to attend to, call a ride home yourself." I called a ride, but because of the heavy rain, I had to wait another hour before a driver accepted the order. Although I was so unlucky, I was unusually calm when I got into the car. I even felt relieved when I saw the post from Ethan Lancaster's Jr., Nina Carter. The photo of Ethan and Nina's candlelight dinner, along with the caption "I said it was boring in the rain, so you came to keep me company," no longer stirred any reaction in me. I could finally make up my mind to leave. This realization put me in a good mood, and I casually gave it a like. But then Ethan, with red eyes, begged me, "After all these years of our relationship, are you just going to let go like this?" I think I love Ethan. I originally thought that if he didn't take me to the airport, I would break up with him when I returned from my business trip. But when he really used being busy at work as an excuse, I still gave him another chance in my heart. If he didn't pick me up when I came back from the trip, then we would break up. He promised that he would definitely come to pick me up on the day I returned. I was very happy, even thinking about it during the trip, deciding that I no longer wanted to think about breaking up and that I would walk forward with Ethan properly. I deliberately ignored that little feeling of unease deep down. But on the night of the business trip, I saw a post on Ethan's brother's Facebook. It was a photo of them drinking and singing at a KTV, with Nina surrounded by Ethan and his brothers like a star among stars. Ethan was reaching out to shield Nina from the drinks, and Nina shyly leaned into Ethan's arms. Speaking of which, Ethan's brothers never say it out loud, but I can tell they all think Nina is a better match for Ethan. I once complained to Ethan about it, but he said I was overthinking things since they never explicitly said that. After I kept bringing it up, he got impatient and said, "Then find a way to win them over and change their minds about you." I had no choice but to swallow my grievances. Until one time at a gathering, one of Ethan's brothers mentioned that when Ethan first introduced Nina to their group, he was very cautious and didn't even make a joke. One of them laughed and said, "We even thought she was his girlfriend." I looked at my phone without questioning him, because it was pointless. Asking why he didn't wait for me to come back before arranging the gathering, or whether he even knew whose boyfriend he really was. But now, what meaning would asking these questions have? In the following days, I stopped sending Ethan messages like before, no more checking in or sharing interesting things. Without my messages, our chat window froze at the last message before his business trip, when I asked if he wanted braised beef brisket for dinner. He replied with a 1. I curled my lips, feeling truly pitiful. On the flight back, I kept worrying about what I would do if Ethan really came to pick me up. If that happened, what excuse would I use to break up? It wasn't until I had waited for 4 hours at the airport and only received his message telling me to go home by myself that I felt a huge sense of relief. Bored on the car, I was scrolling through posts when I came across Nina's update. The photo showed a table set for a candlelight dinner, along with a pair of hands I knew very well. The caption read, "I said it was boring because of the rain, so you came to keep me company." In the past, I would have called him, shouting and questioning him at the top of my lungs. But now, I just happily gave the post a like. When I reached the entrance of the residential complex, the rain had lessened to a drizzle. Rideshares aren't allowed inside the complex, and I was too lazy to use an umbrella, so I simply dragged my suitcase and ran quickly through the rain. As I entered the elevator, I saw Ethan coming down. He frowned, "Why so late? Are you sulking because I was too busy to pick you up?" I calmly replied, "It's hard to get a ride on rainy days." I waited in line for an hour before someone accepted the order. Ethan's expression stiffened. Just then, a mother and daughter entered the elevator. As it ascended, the mother said to her daughter, "When are you going to find a boyfriend? If you come home late in the future, no one will pick you up. You say you can live on your own, but look at yourself." The daughter said defiantly, "This little thing I can definitely do by myself, and just because I have a boyfriend, does that mean he will definitely come to pick me up? Maybe he's with his mistress right now and telling me he's busy with work, that's also possible." They spoke without thinking, but Ethan's expression suddenly turned very unpleasant. I laughed out loud. Just then, the floor where the mother and daughter were getting off arrived. The mother smiled at me, and as she walked out with her daughter, she teased her, "See, even people are laughing at you." "Maybe they're laughing at you, Mom." Go away, still talking back. Ethan pursed his lips and waited until the elevator doors closed again before saying, "Sorry, I didn't expect the rain to be so heavy at the airport. I thought it would be light rain like here." "It's okay, whether you want to or not, it won't solve my problem. But if you had messaged me earlier, maybe I could have really come back sooner." Ethan fell silent. After entering the house, I first put the suitcase aside, then took a towel to dry my hair, and then started looking for a change of clothes. I ignored Ethan the whole time. Ethan was a bit at a loss. "I really had something to do today." I said casually, I know." Yu Guangzhong looked at me steadily. "Are you angry?" "No." He held my hand, his tone tinged with a hint of irritation. "Then why are you acting like this?" I said calmly, "I waited at the airport for 5 hours and even got caught in the rain. So, I want to take a shower and then go to sleep." "Sorry." I interrupted him. "Alright, I know you're busy, I really don't mind, but can you let me take a shower first?" His eyes grew cold. I ignored him and went into the bathroom by myself. Then, I heard the door slam shut with a bang. Ethan started giving me the cold shoulder. Oh no, maybe it can't even be called a cold war, because in the past, if I didn't contact him, he wouldn't reach out to me either. So I gathered myself and threw myself back into work. It wasn't until I saw a photo of him and Nina watching the northern lights in Alaska on his post that I realized I hadn't seen him for several days. Turns out, I didn't absolutely need him after all. Thinking back on the mental preparation I made for myself before the breakup, it all seemed so unnecessary. I looked at those posts, still feeling a bit emotional. Back then, I said I wanted to see the aurora, and Ethan had solemnly promised that once the company stabilized, he would make it his top priority to make it happen. Time is such a strange thing. It can make Ethan, who once had his heart and eyes full of me, gradually stop caring about me. And I, who used to get nervous and jealous at the slightest hint of trouble, can now calmly watch his posts of happy vacations with other women. But maybe it's for the best. With him gone, moving will be easier. After all, I've lived in this house for several years and have quite a few things, so packing up is a bit of a hassle. Plus, I need to find someone to clean my own place first. The day after I moved back to my own home, I received a message from Ethan. "Let's have dinner tonight. I'll wait for you after work to pick you up." I replied, "Let's break up, I'm not going," and then turned off the screen. But when I got off work, I saw Ethan waiting by the roadside downstairs. He came over and took my bag. "Today I'm having dinner with Daeong and the others. They all said they haven't seen you in a long time." I frowned, just as a colleague sent me a message. When I opened my phone, I realized that the message I sent to Ethan this morning hadn't gone through due to network issues. Oh well, I'll just consider it a farewell meal. I opened the front passenger door and saw a note stuck on the back of the seat, with Nina's seat prominently displayed. Memories unexpectedly surfaced in my heart. Back then, I jokingly said I wanted to write a note and stick it on the seat back, but Ethan immediately put on a serious face and scolded me. "You're an adult, why are you doing such childish things? Besides, is this car even yours? Don't be so self-centered." Time has passed, and I no longer have any particular feelings about it, but I still remember the embarrassment and grievance I felt then. At this moment, I have a deeper understanding of the phrase "love or not," it's so obvious. He reached out and tore off the piece of paper. Nina just stuck it on as a joke, she didn't mean anything by it. I came back to my senses and realized Ethan was actually explaining to me. I responded with a and still got into the car. When we arrived at the private room in the restaurant, I found that besides Ethan's group of brothers, Nina was also there. Ethan quickly said, "Nina lives alone in Haicheng." I was afraid she'd be bored, so I invited her to come along. I gave another and casually found an empty seat to sit down. After all, it wasn't the first time. At the dining table, I buried my head in my food, while Nina, as usual, got along well with Ethan's brothers. Ethan kept glancing over at me at first, but since Nina was chatting with his brothers, he gradually warmed up and started talking with them lively. Suddenly, Nina chuckled, "Senior, help me peel the crab, thank you." Ethan rolled up his sleeves and started. Nina let out an ah and stuck her tongue out at me. "Claire, don't mind, this is how the senior and I have always done it." I picked up a rib. "It's okay, I don't mind." Nina nudged Ethan, "You should peel for Claire too, or she'll get upset." Ethan looked at me and smiled at Nina, "But I only have 2 hands, so I have to take care of you first." Then he said to me, "Nina is still young, you should let her have some. If you want to eat, I'll peel it for you when we get back." Me, "Okay." "What do you mean you'll peel it for me when we get back? Wasn't I the one peeling for him before?" Because he likes painting, he always thought his hands, which are only amateur-level painters, were too precious to do the peeling work. But it turns out it depends on the person. It's not that he can't do it, it's just that I'm not worthy. Nina's eyes showed pride, but she continued to act mischievously. "But the crabs here are really delicious, Senior, you still..." I interrupted her, "It's nothing. I got sick eating this with a client during the business trip, so I probably won't want to touch it for a long time." Ethan laughed. "Didn't you say you'd rather not eat this kind of thing if you had to do it yourself? Could it be?" His expression changed slightly. "Someone peeled it for you?" I nodded. The client was too enthusiastic, it was hard to refuse such kindness. Ethan's hand stopped. "Male or female?" "How old?" "The man is probably in his early 30s. "Why are you asking about this?" Nina pretended to hesitate. "I think it's not very appropriate for a man who isn't your boyfriend to peel crab for you." I replied perfunctorily, "It's just peeling a crab, no need to make a big deal out of it." "Your senior wouldn't mind either, right, Ethan?" Ethan threw the crab onto the plate and said coldly, "Claire, if you have an issue, just say it directly. No need to be so sarcastic." The atmosphere in the private room froze for a moment. Someone tried to ease the tension. Sister-in-law must be jealous. "Ethan, why don't you peel one for her too?" I smiled, wiped my mouth, grabbed my bag, and stood up. "No need, I'm full. You guys enjoy." Ethan suddenly stood up. "Have you had enough of the noise?" Then he took a deep breath. "I know you're still upset, but listen to me, sit down first. After this is over, we'll go home and have a proper talk, okay?" The others were also persuading me. "Yeah, sister-in-law, sit down first, let's talk this through calmly. Nina is his junior, it's only natural for him to look out for her a bit." They were coaxing me with their words, but their eyes showed varying degrees of impatience. Ethan emphasized, "Be obedient, Claire. Tonight, besides me, Nina will also explain everything clearly to you." I was surprised and said, "Explain? You're even going to bring her home?" He nodded. "I was just about to tell you, someone keeps knocking on Nina's door over there, but no one can be seen through the peephole. It's not very safe. So I told her to come stay at our place for a while, and I'll help her find a new place. Besides, with you around, having 2 women at home, no one will gossip. You sit down first, I'll take you both home later." I said lightly, "No, I'm afraid it's not on the way." Ethan's chest rose and fell a few times, and he finally couldn't help but sneer, "You just have to argue with me outside, don't you? Fine, not on the way, huh? Then go home by yourself, and don't bother going back to the apartment in Jinhua Garden." His group of brothers stayed silent as he got angry, but their schadenfreude towards me was all too obvious on their faces. I nodded. "I was just about to tell you, I've already moved out, so of course I won't be going back." Ethan suddenly kicked over his chair and stared at me fiercely. "Moving out? When?" "Just a few days ago. Didn't you come back from Alaska yesterday? Haven't you been home?" Hearing me mention Alaska, he panicked for a moment, then became angrily ashamed. "You're moving out because of something like this?" "Of course not. I'm moving out because I plan to break up with you. Actually, before you came to find me for dinner today, I had already replied that I wanted to break up with you, but the message didn't send due to network issues." Now that the breakup dinner is over, I officially notify you, we're broken up. Nina's joy on her face was already impossible to hide, but no one else noticed. Meanwhile, his group of brothers finally realized I was serious, exchanging glances with each other. At that moment, I also received a message from the driver on my phone. I glanced at Ethan's trembling lips and bloodshot eyes, waved at him, and said, "Goodbye." After closing the private room door, I heard a few clattering sounds, not knowing what had been broken. I thought that with Ethan's proud personality, after being humiliated that day, he wouldn't bother me again. But to my surprise, he waited at the entrance of my residential complex every day, wanting to talk to me. I cursed my bad luck and secretly regretted telling him about this place before. I had no choice but to ask my boss for more business trips. Fortunately, the project from the last trip had follow-ups, so the boss let me continue with it. When I arrived there, the person who met with me was still Jason Brooks, who had received me last time. The first time I went, we were very polite and courteous to each other at the beginning, but as we spent more time together, Jason revealed his goofy nature, and we naturally grew closer. Of course, we were just friends and nothing more. Jason asked me, "Want to go eat seafood again?" I shook my head repeatedly, no. Last time, he kept peeling crabs and shrimp for me, which made me enjoy the meal but also got me sick, so I don't want to touch seafood for quite a while. I was curious why he didn't eat it himself, and he said he just liked the sense of accomplishment from peeling the shrimp and crabs while keeping their shells intact. Jason laughed heartily, "Then let's go eat barbecue." While I was immersed in the tender juiciness of the thick-cut beef tongue, Ethan started making frantic phone calls. I was so annoyed that I blocked his number. He kept sending me messages, "Who is that man? Is he the one who peeled the crab for you last time? Are you insisting on breaking up because of him? If you have the guts, don't block my number. Call me back." We had already broken up, yet being monitored like this made me very unhappy. I suddenly lost my appetite for meat and found an excuse to say goodbye to Jason. Jason said he wanted to see me off, but I politely declined, not wanting to involve him in my issues with Ethan. Jason didn't insist, he just told me to be sure to let him know if anything happened. When I returned to the hotel, I saw Ethan waiting right at the door. My face immediately fell. Ethan looked at my reaction in disbelief. "Do you hate me that much now?" I shrugged, I thought it was obvious. "Who is that man?" "Ethan, I made it very clear before we broke up. Who that man is has nothing to do with you." I did not agree. "Think whatever you want, breaking up doesn't require your consent." "Is it just because of Nina?" "I told you, I only see her as a sister." "I don't care how you see her, the point is we're broken up, so don't bother me anymore." Ethan seemed not to hear what I said, just talking to himself. "From now on, I'll peel shrimp and crab for you. You can have the passenger seat all to yourself. You can decorate the car however you want. From now on, no matter how busy or important your business trips and overtime are, I'll be the one to pick you up and drop you off. In short, from now on, everything will come first for you." He basically shouted the last sentence, and I just wanted to laugh as I listened. I walked around him, "Excuse me." He grabbed my wrist, his tone dark, "I've already backed down this much, what more do you want? Nina is my sister, I can't just ignore her. I just want you to stop bothering me." He shook off my hand, gritting his teeth. "Fine, fine. Claire, don't regret this." Ethan's pride was hurt by me, and after that, he really didn't come looking for me again. Not long after I returned from a business trip, I heard that he and Nina had made their relationship public. Some well-meaning people even showed me their posts. Ethan was generous with Nina, spending on jewelry and haute couture fashion. In the photos, their fingers were intertwined, accompanied by the caption, "After all the twists and turns, it's still you." It seemed this time Ethan had found true love. I replied to the sender, "We've already broken up. I'm not interested in my ex's private life, so please don't send me anything like this again." I really didn't have time to care about Ethan and them, because my close friend Emily Evans, who works abroad, had come back to visit her family. We arranged to meet at a cafe, and Emily was quite displeased. We're sisters, right? I rarely come back, and you invite me for coffee? Shouldn't we be having barbecue or hot pot instead? Big sis, I haven't forgotten your taste, but the barbecue place you like is having a promotion recently. They're offering double beef tongue at dinner, and it's only morning now. Only then did Emily nod in satisfaction and asked me, how have you and Ethan been lately? I haven't seen you post about him for a long time. I was about to answer we broke up, when I heard an affected greeting. Oh, this is Claire, what a coincidence. Nina smiled and walked over to our table. Emily frowned, glanced at her, and asked me in confusion, who? Ethan's junior from elementary school. We have to thank Claire for stepping back and making it possible for me and Senior to confirm our feelings for each other. Emily interrupted her, this little sister. Nina was taken aback and instinctively corrected, my name is Nina Carter. Emily apologized, sorry, Miss Nina Carter. Emily sneered coldly, can't keep up the act anymore, mistress. Nina said fiercely, who's the mistress? I only got together with Senior after Claire and Senior broke up. If you don't believe me, ask Claire. I exclaimed in shock, you only got together this late? I saw Ethan repeatedly leaving me to comfort you, pick you up, and cook for you, and I thought you two were already together back then. The bystanders who had long been watching the drama suddenly looked at Nina with strange eyes upon hearing this. Nina's face turned a mix of colors, she glared resentfully at Emily and me, then ran off embarrassed. After she left, Emily looked at me speechlessly and said, so, Ethan cheated on you and you never told me? I hurriedly said, I was just about to tell you when that third party showed up. Well said. Next time I'll introduce you to a few handsome foreign guys with blonde hair, blue eyes, and six-pack abs. When I saw Ethan again, I wasn't surprised. After all, it wasn't the first time he had scolded me for standing up for Nina. Over the past 2 years, whenever Nina was mentioned, we would inevitably argue, followed by him saying I was petty and nitpicky, then giving me the cold shoulder for a few days until I took the initiative to apologize. But I didn't expect that when he saw me this time, he humbly begged, can we talk, please? I said coldly, what is there to talk about? He said bitterly, do we really have to be so hostile? Don't we love each other very much? Why has it come to this? I was too impatient to keep entangled with him, so I directly took a detour and left. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. He blocked my way, his expression painful. I was wrong, Claire. Can you forgive me? Just give me one chance to make a mistake. His eyes were red and moist, on the verge of tears. I was a bit dazed. The last time he had this expression was after I underwent a major surgery. His face was haggard, his eyes bloodshot, and when he saw me open my eyes, his whole being burst with ecstatic joy. We once loved each other. But things have changed. I looked Ethan straight in the eye, as the saying goes, once unfaithful, never forgiven. But ask yourself honestly, how many chances have I given you? Have you ever thought about today when you kept leaving me to take care of Nina? Let's part on good terms, Ethan. After I finished speaking, I quickly went to the supermarket to buy things. I had arranged to have hot pot at my place with Emily today. The day was getting gloomier, and it seemed like a heavy rain was coming. Just as I got home, the rain started drizzling. 2 minutes after Emily came in carrying a bunch of things, the rain turned into a downpour. She said, I just saw Ethan standing downstairs when I entered the building. I shrugged, whatever, if he wants to stand there, let him stand. After we finished eating, I went to the kitchen to wash the pot, and Emily called out from the living room, hey, he's still standing there. The rain was still heavy at that time. If Ethan had kept standing there, he would have been soaked through by now. I thought for a moment, and to avoid trouble, I removed Nina from the blacklist and sent her a message asking her to come and take Ethan away. After that, it was no longer my concern. That night, Emily and I shared a bed, reminiscing about the past. The next day, when I saw her off downstairs, Ethan was indeed nowhere to be found. That was good, at least he wouldn't cause me any trouble by collapsing here. Half a month later, I received a message from an unknown number belonging to Ethan, asking me to meet one last time. He said that after this, he would never bother me again. After some thought, I agreed. When I arrived at the cafe where we had arranged to meet, he was sitting in the innermost corner. Seeing me, he waved. I was taken aback. In just 2 weeks, Ethan's eyes were darkened, his skin sallow, and he looked utterly listless and emaciated. When I sat down, he gave a bitter smile and said, "I'm planning to shut down the company and move to another city." His career was going quite well. I didn't expect him to give up just like that. I didn't know what to say, so I could only say, "I wish you all the best on your journey." He looked at me, a last glimmer of hope in his eyes, and whispered hoarsely, "Claire, can't you really give me one chance? I'll block Nina and never contact her again. Would that be okay?" I shook my head and sighed, "It's all too late." The light in his eyes went out, and he covered his face, choking back tears. "I knew it, it's all my fault. I took your love for granted, ignored and hurt you time and again. I brought all this on myself." When I was leaving, Nina happened to come over. She gave me a resentful glance, but without having time to argue with me, she ran to comfort Ethan, who was sitting there motionless. "Senpai, you still have me. Claire doesn't care about you, but I cherish you. Look at me, am I good enough?" Ethan said nothing, just numbly let Nina shake his body. From that day on, both Ethan and Nina disappeared from my life. 2 months later, Emily and I boarded a plane to a foreign country. Because I did well at work, my boss not only promoted and gave me a raise but also granted me a long vacation. So I went to Europe with Emily, whose vacation had just ended. During the vacation, I received a message from Ethan's brother using a secondary account. It was only then that I realized I had only blocked their main accounts before and had forgotten about the secondary one. He said Ethan and Nina got married, but Nina only found out after the wedding that Ethan had donated all the money after closing the company. Nina went crazy. She thought Ethan closed the company and moved away to avoid me, but now Ethan, without any company assets, is penniless. Nina can't stand living a hard life and wants to divorce Ethan. Nowadays, remarriage is not a big deal, but Ethan said that if she wants a divorce within 15 years, he will expose her involvement in breaking up someone else's relationship. Nina was forced into silence and stopped mentioning it, but she and Ethan kept having constant big and small fights. Their life was a complete mess. His brother said this was Ethan trying to atone and apologize to me. I replied with one sentence, "It has nothing to do with me. Please don't send this again, thank you." After saying that, I also blocked this alternate account. Then I received a message from Emily on my phone, "Sis, I'm off work. Today I'll take you to a French restaurant I really like." I immediately replied, "Okay, okay, okay." Then I happily started changing my clothes. The gossip I had just heard was now completely pushed out of my mind.